Welcome to this new episode. In the upcoming videos, we will try to develop more of the cloud compliance solutions. So in this episode particularly, we will discuss about how to use Eclipse and how to navigate within Eclipse. And then we also create one cloud compliance solution using Eclipse. Okay, so you all know that currently most of the customers are using on-premise S4, but in the future, maybe 5 to 10 years down the line, most of them will migrate to cloud. So it's very important that we already implement cloud compliant solutions so that we can reuse most of our development instead of restarting everything or changing everything once the customer migrates. So we will see what kind of things we can implement particularly for MDG, which complies to the cloud development model. And then we also see which what we cannot implement using the cloud compliance, because many objects are not released particularly for MDG components in the MDG component. So we will see what we can do and what we cannot do. Yeah. So right now in this session, we particularly get used to the tool Eclipse. So going forward, do not use I don't say do not use. Maybe it's better you start using Eclipse. Get used to Eclipse. Otherwise, Web ID. So using Web ID also you can perform the cloud developments. And all if you are using MDG Business Partner completely in the cloud, then you can use BAS to develop cloud applications. But as I already mentioned, most of them are using S4HANA, yeah, and so some of them trying to implement side-by-side solution, that is cloud compliant solutions together S4 on-premise, and you can use for the above development Eclipse. So first thing is, it's very important that you get used to this tool, and then it's very important that you start using this tool right now instead of the SAP GUI for all your developments. Okay, so now let's see how we can install Eclipse, and then we create simple program and we understand how to debug in Eclipse, and then we create a simple cloud compliance solution in the Eclipse. Okay, so now I already installed Eclipse. You see, I already installed it. So yeah, so let me remove it and then we can install it again. And the very important thing is, before you are installing Eclipse, it's very important you installed, sorry, I think, sorry, I'm checking in the apps, control panel. Yeah, so it's very important you install Java, the Java development kit. You should install it, otherwise Eclipse won't work. So this is the first thing you need to install. And then if you search for Eclipse, it won't show here. But I already installed Eclipse. Yeah. So Eclipse, you see, it's already there, but it won't show. These apps won't show as a programs. So to remove it, to maybe uninstall it, you have to remove the folders. Maybe just type eclipse.exe. So the exe file is there. So go to the file location and then go to Eclipse, goes to further. So you see, you need to remove these folders. And also the .eclipse folder. Sometimes .eclipse folder won't be visible. In that case, you have to go to view, click show button, and then click hidden items. Then it will show .eclipse as well. So remove all these things. This will remove the Eclipse from your system. Okay, so now the Eclipse is removed. Now you can install the Eclipse again. To install Eclipse, you just have to go to Eclipse download and then click this option and then download x86 and 64. When you click this, it will start to download. I already downloaded multiple times, so I'm just going to open this again. So when you click that, it will start to download this, and then you click this one and it will start launching the installer. Okay, so it's launching the installer. So yeah, so just a simple thing. What is Eclipse? Eclipse is an integrated development toolkit. Using that, you can develop ready to deploy solutions. Yeah. So we are going to implement a solution for enterprises. So click on Enterprise Java and Web Developers. Yeah, and then click Install. So just make sure if you want to change the folder, you can change it, but I accept the default one. So yeah, click on Install and then accept now. So it will start to install the Eclipse. Then it will show you have to um, everything we may do it in the Eclipse will save it in the workspace. Yeah. So you have to give a link for workspace. By default, I accept this and click on use this as a default one and then launch. So this will launch Eclipse IDE now. Okay, so Eclipse is now launched. First thing you see is welcome page. So next is install the ABAP software. Yeah. So to do that, go to tools.ono.demand.com. So it says based on the Eclipse version, you have to install the software. So to install the software, go to help and then click install new software. And then before to that, let me check what is the version of Eclipse. Yeah, it's about Eclipse. It shows 2024 9. So yeah, then this one 2024-09. So I take this URL to install development tools, ABAP development tools. So now, okay. So now click next, accept the license agreement, click finish and accept the authorities, trust authorities, click trust selected. If we face any errors while installing Eclipse, it's mainly due to Java. So make sure that the Java is properly installed. Then you can seamlessly install the Eclipse IDE. Then we have to, once we install this ABAP development tools, we need to restart the Eclipse. So it will relaunch again. Okay, so now you see that ABAP development in the welcome page. Okay, so create a new object, you basically click on file and create a new object, and then to edit, and all this, these are the menus, and yeah, very important. The first thing is you install the new software, and then you can change, and then you have to switch the perspective to ABAP. To do that, go to perspective, and then click on open perspective and change to ABAP perspective. So perspective is nothing but it contains numerous windows, views. So using that you can able to develop the ABAP ABAP coding. Yeah. So you can able to perform the ABAP developments in a simple way. Yeah. So now we switch to ABAP development perspective, and you can. I'm not sure if it is really switched. Let me check once again. Mm, okay, so it's right now in the ABAP perspective. Okay, so now we are in the ABAP perspective and we can start implementing the ABAP code. Okay, so this is, you can also change the perspective you want to. I close this welcome. Then you see this is the perspective of ABAP, and you can change this perspective and you can, instead of, I would say, customize it. You can customize and remove unnecessary things and keep only the necessary ones. To do that, you have to simply go to perspective and then customize the perspective. For an example, when I click file, when I click new button, you see I see ABAP class interface package. I want a function module to appear because I often create a function module, so I want it to appear here. To do that, you simply go here Um, yes, window perspective and then customize perspective. And then menu visibility I want to personalize, right? So it's in the file. So I go to file and in the new, and then I want the function module to be visible. So click this, apply and close. So when you go now to new, you see the above function module. So this way you can customize this entire perspective and put whichever is relevant and remove whichever is not relevant for you. Yeah. Okay, so this is about perspective. So first thing is install the software. Next thing is switch to the ABAP perspective and then customize the perspective as you want it. Otherwise, you can leave it. Yeah, you can save the perspective as all these things. Yeah. And then third is preferences. So in the preferences, go to ABAP development and then you can change the debug properties and the editor, how it should look like. The editor should look like the colors of the keywords. And in Eclipse, when you type if, you can take complete template and you can also create your own template. So you can change the properties of the above development here. So using the preferences. Yeah. But the easy way to navigate to preferences is through code. I will show it to you. So just close this. Yeah. So one is install the software, change to the above perspective, then preferences. You can check the preferences and most of the preferences I leave it like this, but if you wanted to customize it, you can customize it. And then to create a new object, you have to go from here like file, new object, and then you either create above class, above package, or if you wanted to create a different thing, you can click on above repository object. First thing we need to connect to the system. So create an ABAP project. This will connect to the system. It will show all the open systems in your SAP GUI. If you don't have any systems to work, then you can create a BTP free account and then you can connect BTP account to work out. Yeah. So in this case, I have already a system, SAP system. So I'm connecting to that system. Okay. So now I connected to the system. So yeah, now I connected to the system and first thing you need to do is add the favorite, packages, the important packages as your favorite packages so that you can easily navigate through it. So I just right click it and then click add package and then the first package I mostly uses APL underscore AMD MD, sorry, this is the package which contains all the development of the business partner and the product master, the MDG developments, right? So I include this one and then add package is above demos is this package and then you can create if you have your own packages, you can include it here. So let's say we are developing for the MDG for the first time. So now then we can create two packages. One is package with uncleaned objects and another is package with the cloud compliance objects. Cloud compliance objects in the sense you using this package only the allowed cloud objects can be created and accessed that means you cannot create a programs because programs are not allowed in the cloud development. So using this package you cannot create a cloud development. So ABAP, so we call it as ABAP language version. Yeah, so if you create a package with the standard ABAP language version, that means you can create any type of objects that we are doing it using SAP GUI right now or right now. If you are using a cloud development language version, then only the cloud related development you can create access using this package. For an example, the programs you cannot create in the cloud development. We don't create programs, so you cannot really access. You cannot create programs in this package. And then we use released objects for the cloud development. Released objects means these are the objects released by SAP for the cloud development, and you can use these objects while implementing the cloud compliance solutions. To know the released objects, you just have to go to file and then click new, and then other repository tree, repository. Oh no, I think it was wrong. Yeah, so repository tree, double click on this and then click released objects. Finish. So these are the objects you will use it for the cloud development. So SAP didn't release so many objects. Yeah, but when it comes to MDG, it's most of the time we do in uncleaned package, because SAP didn't release so many things for MDG. So we mostly work on the uncleaned package. And let me check this one. Okay, so go to dictionary. Maybe I will take domain, one of the domain. I will show it to you about Boolean. Yeah, so you go to properties and then API state. You see, it is released. Using cloud development, yes. Yeah. So we mostly use released objects for the cloud development, and cloud development is based on CDS views and wrap model. CDS view is, we don't directly access database table in the cloud. Rather, we create a view, and using that view, we access the database table. So CDS view is, the view created out of several database table through associations or join. And then it's a complex, it can represent a complex model to access to develop any particular applications. It's a complex data model, and then you can create a service on top of it, and then you can expose it as a REST API. Okay, so we will see one cloud development for sure. Yeah. And before to that, let us create a simple program and then and understand how the debugging works in Eclipse. Yeah. So as I mentioned before, we will create a two package, one package for the cloud development and another packages for the uncleaned developments. So I would go to the ABAP package, the test. Well, I call it as tier one test, and then I create software component as either local or is that custom development. If you select one of this, then only the language version, cloud development language version is possible, not the standard version. I will show it to you in a minute. Click next, and then either create a new transport request, or if you have already transport request, you just select the transport request, or you can enter the transport request, click finish. Okay, so now the package is created, and you see the default language version ABAP for cloud. It's because of the software component. So that means in this package you can only create cloud compliance solutions, because the language version is ABAP for cloud development. That means if you try to create programs in this package, it will not allow, because we don't use programs in the cloud development. Okay, so add this package to favorite, click on add package, click on search for it and add it. Now create one more package, ABAP package. I call it as T2, that is uncleaned development test. And then you can also add to the favorite package right from here, and then click next. And then the software component is home, and then click finish. And now you see the default language version, you can switch it. So standard ABAP means you can do all kind of developments. So now it's also added as added in the favorite packages. So now create a small program in the uh, T2, and then we will debug it and we understand how it works. So go to other repository object and then look for program, ABAP program, click next, and then I would say the test 12, just for the, yeah, 12, I would say test. Okay, so I would say 13, and then transport request, and then click finish it. Okay, so I already have a code, so I will copy paste. So it's a simple code that we have a counter and then we increase the counter, and if the counter reaches 9 then we exit it. And then for the pretty painter, just right click and then click on the, and then now we formatted the code, and to put the breakpoint, to debug we have to put the breakpoint to breakpoint. Okay, so first activate it. So when you activate it, you can see it in the properties. This is activated, yeah. So this is active, this is the properties. And if you basically we click the check syntax. So to clear, check the syntax, you have to click this button. If there is any errors, it will appear here. For an example, if I remove this, then the error appears, and then you can see it in the problems here. So you see, you can see it here. And when you click check syntax, you can see the syntax error. Once the errors are removed, resolved, then click activate. This button is to activate this report. If you have multiple inactive objects and you want to activate it together, you can click on this one. So I click activate. So now the object is activated. To debug, we have to set a breakpoint. So double click on it, then the breakpoint is set. If you wanted to set it for external user, you have to change the debug properties. Go to the debug properties, and then if you want to set breakpoint for the external user, you can set it here. For this case, I want to set it for my users, so I put it here. And then editors, pretty painter. If you want to change the pretty painter settings, you can change it here. Once you finish with the settings, click on apply and close, and then to execute it, to click on this one, this button, run. And then you can say ABAP application. ABAP application means it will open GUI window and it will run. ABAP application console means it will open a console here and then it will display the result. I will select ABAP console and I will show it to you. So whenever the debugger reaches this point, the breakpoint, then it will ask you to change the perspective, because for debugging we have a different perspective. So click on remember my decision and then click switch to the perspective. You see there is a different perspective opened and the breakpoint is triggered. So to execute completely, you have to click resume F8. That means it will execute completely. If you want to terminate, you click on this button. If you want to execute one by one like this, you can execute. You can click on this button. If you wanted to step over, that is execute complete method, then you click on this one. If you wanted to go to statement, you can use this one. If you wanted to run to line statement, you can use this one. In Eclipse, you have this option, like you don't need a debugger. You don't have to put a breakpoint. You just have to put click the cursor, put the cursor here, and then click run to line. So when the debugger comes to this line, it will stop. Let me remove this, and then I put run to line. You see, when the debugger comes to this point, it stops. And then what is the counter value now? So to check the values of the variable, double click on it and you can check it here. The LV counter is value is 2 right now. So what I wanted to do is I want to set a watch point for the LV counter. So to do that, right click on this and click on set watch point, and then click on this one and go to the breakpoints and set the condition. So I have a problem with my system, so I take this, I copy this, and then I say if it is greater than 6, then stop it. So when you double click, you see the watch point is set. Now you can execute it. So now it comes, what is the value? The value is 7. So it reaches the watch point, so it stopped. Okay, and then to delete the watch point, you simply go and then delete the variable. Yeah, so in this case I simply execute. Yeah, so we got the output. If you wanted to execute in SAP GUI, if you select SAP GUI as your runtime to display the result, then it will open the SAP GUI window here. Okay, so this is, we created a report and we checked how the debugger works, how to set a breakpoint, watch point, and how to reset the debugger properties, and how to apply pretty painter, and how to change the pretty painter properties. All these things we have seen it. To switch back to the previous perspective, you just have to click this button or simply close this one. But I would say you click this one so that it will exit from the debugger. Yeah. And when you click once again, now you can able to select ABAP application, and when you run it, you see it opens the results in the GUI window. Okay, so here also you can navigate if you want. Sorry, to the GUI window. Okay, so you close this. So now we checked the debugger. So we are now familiar with the debugger. Yeah. So now let's go and create cloud compliance object solution. So first thing is, as I told you, we cannot create other world using a program in the cloud the development language version, using cloud development language version. So we have to create a class. To do that, go to new and then click class. That's the test. It's what. And then interface class run. If you want to add interface to the class, you can add it. Click OK and click next, and then select the input request and click finish. So now, yeah, the class definitions are created. If you want to include more interfaces, you can simply add it here. So here to display other world, all you need to do is out of right, just write this. Yeah, then click activate button. Now run it. Above application console, and then the results are displayed. You see them? So the results are displayed. To check the properties of the class, you can check it. To check syntax, you can check it. To check the output, you check the view console. Yeah. And there is outline. Outline is, for an example, if you have multiple objects in the class or in the yeah, in the program or function module, it will display all the objects here. Yeah. And then it is where if you rename one of this method or one of the object, it will be replaced in the class everywhere. So this is like a quick tool. You can quickly find the objects and then replace it. And then this is the editor area, and this is the main the result area. And this is mainly if the debug perspective is open, the breakpoints, watch points, you can set it here, and then project explore. So these areas we can use it And for rest of the, we have many perspectives and also sorry, many windows and views, but we mostly don't use it. Yeah. So now this is the hello world using the cloud development, the first hello world. Okay, so now we create a REST API. To do that, we need a data model to store the data. Simply right click new button, other repository object, and then click table, go to table, database table, and then say as test 12 and test, yeah. And then finish, and then click finish. So now the database table is created, and you see all the properties, the enhancement category. We normally set it in the GUI, right? When we create the table, it's the same thing, but you include it as a annotations. This is called annotations. So you mention everything as a annotations. Okay, so now put the field details. I'll do the uh, create of it. Yeah, and I put a key ID, and then I take S name. This is automatic generation of 16 digit ID. And first name, I want to create employee details, employee record. So I would say if name, it's not a key field, and then ABAP, I would say character. See, it's just like you have to use control and space, then you can access control and space. Okay, you just for an example, if I to yeah, just control space, then you get everything, the help. So above, and I want to use character, just control, just tab. Mm. So I will put 30. So basically control space to get the L, and then you to select it you have to click tab. That's it. And then yeah, first name, last name, you either use yeah, you can use a data element, but in the as I told you, if the data element should have been released, otherwise you cannot use it in the cloud element. So above, last name, character 30, I would say. First name, last name. What else we can take? We can take data birth of the employee. So it is about test. And then sorry. And then mobile we can take. Let's take it as numeric length. Yeah. And then what else we can take? We can take location. About character 30. Department we can take. About character 10. Then we can take status of the employment. About yeah. Now simply activate it. Once you're done with that, click syntax, no errors, then activate. Then it is automatically formatted. So we have everything. And when you develop, when you wanted to generate the objects for the REST model, yeah, then these two fields are important. You need to mention these two. Last changed at local last changed. You can also add created by, created at all these fields as well. Created by, created at, and these things also you can add it if you want. But in this case, I'm not using it, but you can add those things as well. But last changed at and local last change time. So this is very important. Otherwise, we cannot generate objects for the REAP model. Okay, now activated. So now it is activated. So now we have a database table, right? So now we have a database table to store the data. So now you activated it, and then you see the dictionary here, and then database table, double click on it to check the data, just right click, and then yeah, so open with data preview to check the data. Right now there is no data, just the database table is there, right? Okay, click on. So now we have the data table to store the data. So now we can create a RAP info. So RAP, so the cloud applications mainly depends on the CDS view and also the services. So we create a service binding using REST model. So CDS view is nothing but we don't directly access table in cloud development. We create a view CDS view and then we access through CDS view. So so here the CDS view is nothing but it's a view and it can be either on a single table view created on a single table or it's a multiple table which is used for your application. Maybe the complex model, a CDS view can represent complex model to to support your entire application. And then we access this model using a service, yeah, the REST API service. So to create a REST model, you need to generate the necessary objects. So simply right click on it and then click generate ABAP repository objects. And then we have to create OData UI service. And then package just includes that it's T2, right? It's T1. T1. And then click on the data model and change the name. What is that? Because it's all custom development, right? So mhm. Is that yeah, so it will generate all the necessary objects for the REST mode, REST API. Okay, yeah, once you finalized everything, then you click on finish button, then it will create the necessary. So now it created necessary objects. If you wanted to, it already refreshed the package. If you wanted to refresh the package, simply click on the package, right click, and then click refresh. Then it will refresh the package. It created the necessary object. You see that it is the service binding it created, right? So the first thing you notice is you have created one more table. This is called a draft table. For an example, if I'm entering the data, it will create a draft version of the data and then it will store in this draft table. So this way the data won't be lost. It's similar to staging table in MDG, yeah, but it's a bit different. So whenever you create entries, the draft it stores in the draft table, and in case if something happens and the browser is closed or something, still you can able to access the data from the draft table. So it always creates a draft table, and yeah, for if you wanted the draft versions to be stored, so it has a draft table created so that you will see when we type it stores, it saves the data in the draft table, and then when we click save button, it stores the data in the main table. Okay, so now it created all the objects. To check the data, you can simply click on publish. So it created a service binding, and click publish and then click preview. Select this entity set and then click preview and then click sign in. Now you see, so it appears. So editing status, in case some draft is there and you wanted to access such the draft and then you can save it, you can do it. Otherwise you can ignore it. So I put everything. So this was the page for updating the table using the wrap model. So I can click go. There is no object exists right now, right? So I can create an object. Click create button and then say the same. Nothing. Say just location and then active department consulting. And then you see draft updated. So this time it keeps updating the draft table. Okay. When I click create button, now the record is created in the table, main table. So and then I click on the go back button. So if you want to delete the records, you can delete it, go back, and when you click, yeah, so you see the record appears already. So this way we can perform the CRUD operations for the table and in a very easy, just one click, few clicks, I would say, you can generate all the necessary objects for creating this application to access CRUD, to perform CRUD operations on the table. Okay, so now let's understand the object created by the system. So I go here. Now you go, I click the save button, right? So now you go and do the data preview. Open data preview. You see the record exists. The ID is the system ID, system automatically generated, and we'll see how it all happens. Okay, so one is a drop table. Now, so drop table is nothing but the same definition of the main table. System creates the definition of the same main table, and then whenever we type something, everything this is stored in the drop table, and when you click save button, it will be stored in the main table. Yeah, so this is the difference. And then when you go to the core data services, source code library, so we also see this. So this one is created new, I will explain the reason. So let's go to the core data services, CDS. So here when you click data definitions, this is the CDS view entity. This is the main entity. It created the CDS entity, and it selects from this database table. And in SAP we use values to list, right? So to check the values list, simply click right click, and then you see get values to list. This is how we look for values to list to see where the objects are used. Otherwise, you can also right click here and then check the values to list. Okay, so now it selects the data from this one. And then using annotations, these two are what a system determines. These two are determined by the system using annotations. Last change that local change. Yeah, okay, so yeah, so this is the root entity, CDS view entity created using the database table. And then next is ZC. This is projection view. So normally the CDS view entity can contain any number of complex details. Here we are not using any association, but you can also associate multiple table. Association is kind of a join. Yeah, so you can join multiple tables and create a complex CDS view entity for your complex application. But the projection is nothing but to just mention what you need for this current application. So I need only these things for my application. So it is more of an abstract model. That is, you just take what is relevant for this particular application. So this one will contain complete thing, and this one you just take what is relevant. So you see this defined view entity out of this projection, out of this the CDS view entity, we only take these things and display it in the screen. Okay, so these two are yeah. So one is, this is an important one, and then out of which we create this ZC, and this is, we just mention what is relevant for our application. Yeah, and then authorization check, all these annotations you have to check it. You really need to go through the serious views training, then you will understand all these annotations, and what is the basic view, projection view, and then consumption view, all this. Yeah, but just for this and for this, just for this RAP model understanding, this is the root entity, and this is the projection view created on this root entity to define what we really needed and ignoring what is not relevant for this application. Yeah, and then second is behavior definition. So behavior definition, so this is where how it behaves for different actions, or authorization checks, And for some fields you see ID and loss changed, these fields are read only. Yeah, so that means in the UI it is all read only, you cannot change it. And then ID field automatically managed means automatically generated, and these are the actions possible: create, update, delete. And if you wanted some buttons, yeah, buttons and actions, you have to define here. And for an example, validations, derivations, if you wanted it, you have to mention it, and you basically implement those validations, derivation in this class, and then you link it here. So and then you see the mapping for the original table. So this is the original database table. It maps whatever the data user enters in the screen. Finally it maps to the original table, and these are all the actions. And then if you have validations, derivations, you have to give a link here, and then you implement all these validations, derivations in this class. Anyway, we are not going to see those things in this session, because it will, then the video time will take more than 1.5 or 2 hours. We always try to make short videos, a simple video not exceeding 30 minutes, right? So but if you want more details, of course you can check, so SAP blocks, many blocks are available. Using that, you can able to create additional buttons, pop-up, validations, derivations, all these things. You link it here. This is called behavior definition. That means for different actions or events, how this, in the screen, in the browser screen, how the system will react, behave. Yeah. So all this you have to define in the behavior definition. And then and then this is a projection definition. So once again here we are defining what is relevant. Yeah, so these are all for create, update, delete. So these three actions we are going to perform for the table update, creations, and then delete. Okay, so then the third important thing is metadata definition. So this is also another important thing. So this is nothing but, you see in the screen how the UI should look like in the screen, like which position, and then you want to put a different name for this, or you need yeah, you need some importance. For an example, let's say that you open the application in a different devices. So if you put I importance, that means this particular line item, I mean, if it is, um, I think this is ID, right? So then it will be given more importance. So this will be displayed. If it is a low importance, then it may, if the screen is small, it won't be displayed. So likewise, so you can control the UI properties using metadata definitions. So all these properties like spaces, and then the labels, and then the position, and then color, all these things, the entire UI, the properties, UI properties of the field properties, I would say, you can control it using metadata definitions. So for an example here, it opens that type name is the header information, type name is that C2, right? Okay, so ZC, you see ZC test, yes, and when I click new button, you see ZC test 12, right? So for an example, sometimes you can also put a header here like employee information, and then employee status, and then employee address. All these things you can define it, you can format it using this metadata extensions. You can do a lot of things. That is, you can control the UI properties using the metadata extensions. So to change the name, I'm going to put employee detail, and then select this. Plural name is employee detail. Mhm. Okay, so employee details, Now activate it, and then here also you can change employee detail, activate it. Okay, so now refresh. Okay, it's not I discard the draft. Click go button. Okay, it didn't change. It's because some cache that we need to clear in the backend. Okay, so let's finalize these things, and then we can remove the, yeah, then we can check why the title is not displayed, and the say, and then the service definitions. Service definition is nothing but which is yeah, which service we are going to expose here. So we expose ZC test 12. This is this behavior definition, right? This is the behavior definition. This is the, yeah, this is the mm, this is the service we are going to expose. So this has a connection to, so with this name, the projection view and the metadata extensions, everything will be created with this name. And then the service definition is the service which we are going to expose. So in this case, this particular service that access the metadata definition ZC test 12, and then projection view ZC test 12, and this is the base of the projection view, yeah, and the data definition. So and then the service binding, you just yeah, you just see, you create a service binding for the service definition, and then this is the URL, and then when you click the preview button, it will open this application. Okay, so now let's say that we wanted to also include search. I want to include a search. To do that, you have to go to the root and then say data definition, say yes, and say at searchable true. Then we have to include some elements as a search element. Search default element true, and then I put search default element true, and then click execute button. Go back, and then okay, it didn't appear. Once again, the problem with the service binding. You will see that. So I put it as a search default element. For an example, if you wanted to search using this field separately, then you can put at UI okay. So now refresh the screen, it won't show. Okay, I'm sorry, it's because of the cache. So yeah, normally to avoid this issue in the SAP GUI, there is a T code called as maintain underscore service, WFD maintain underscore service. So at that you add a service definition and then create O data. So there you can able to easily clear metadata cache. Yeah. But here, if you try after some time, it will work. Yeah, it will automatically clear the cache. Otherwise, you can do one thing. You can delete this service definition. Before deleting, let me copy this service definition. Yeah, now delete it. Even if you unpublish and republish the service binding, it's still okay. You need to first clear, yeah, unpublish. Still, even if you republish, it won't work. So I delete this, and then I delete this one, and then I'll create a new service definition, and then output. So now you see employee details here, and then okay, so you are now able to search the first name and last name, right? And then you can customize this page also a little bit. Manage. Wait, I would say Adobe filters. I don't want to see the editing status, so I save it. And then you can save as, yeah, save it as a custom one, but for testing purpose, custom, and set as default. Save it, and then you see the employee details. It is changed. The header is changed. The header title is changed, and also here it is changed. Okay, discard drop. Okay, you can able to search here using first name and last name, and basically so you can able to search for the object, and also you can also click go button so that you see the objects, and then to create a new objects you can, yeah, go back. Now you have two objects. To edit it, you can go back, edit, change the details, and then you can go back. So this is how we perform CRUD operations by creating a RAP model in the cloud using a cloud development, okay, cloud development model. Yeah. So what we can do in MDG is, even if you use uncleaned package, try to use more of the cleaned objects within the uncleaned packages. So that means, for an example, programs we have tried, we created, and if you wanted to search, you know, if you wanted to select the data, try to use more of a CDS view instead of a table. Select star from I customer. So you can use more of the CDS views and released objects, and then try to develop more instead of a web applications. You can develop using RAP model, yeah. And also, for an example, we have so many tables in MDG to stay, sometimes to store for validations, derivations, etc. These tables also you can expose as a RAP model solution so that the user update entries in that table using RAP model instead of SM30, because in SM30 is not used in the cloud development. So whatever you think, you think, it's not for MDG, the central governance mostly in on-premise S4. It is all uncleaned objects. There is nothing we can do because there is not much released object. So we develop in the uncleaned package only. But whatever you think the additional development, if the user is requesting some kind of report, some kind of web pro applications, some kind of analytical solutions, you can develop using a cloud compliance, yeah, using cloud compliance model. Yeah, I will bring some example in the future, and then we will develop it together. But this session is cool, purely about getting used to the tool Eclipse. Yeah, it's very important is syntax checks, activate, and then run button. And then when you go to the debug perspective, you will see all the debug options. And then to change the debug properties, yeah, you just have to right click, and to see the values list, simply right click and click on the values to list, and then add all the important packages in the favorite packages. And then you can anytime check a different objects using a new button and going to the repository tree. You can bring the objects, and then if you want to change the perspective, if you want to change the preferences, these are all the important things you need to know to start developing in Eclipse. These are the things we often use in SAP GUI, and I've also shown it in the Eclipse. Now you can able to use Eclipse pretty much, and with this session, at the end of this session, I think you can able to use Eclipse, and then you can start writing the code using Eclipse. It's very important you really start using the code using Eclipse. And then we will see in the future for the cloud development, that is purely cloud development, how to do using BAS, BAS tool for the development of cloud solutions for the business partner, etc. But now most of us are working in the on-premise S4. So let us develop some applications which is following the cloud development model within the on-premise S4. And then we also check some solutions for the business partner in the BAS tool. Okay. Yeah, I hope this session is helpful for you guys, and I will see you next time with another video. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Yeah.